right. Looks like this is going to be the group, small group. All right. I think people are still probably on a little bit of vacation or coming off of the weekend. All right. Welcome, everyone. My name is Tyson Haynes. We're going to go ahead and get started. All right. This is about a tax roll program and an MLS system that the board offers by the name of Remine. Okay, want to make sure that you guys know that there is a total of three different Remind classes. Reason being is Remind is a little bit more than just a tool in order to send listings directly to a customer. You can also use Remind to create a CMA. That's right, in order to create a comparative market analysis report when you're coming up with your price opinion when you're working with your buyers and sellers. And the reason why I said it's also a tax roll program is it's just like RPR and IMAP. It pulls all property information directly from each county appraiser so we can see the bedrooms and bathrooms, the actual square footage, the owner's information as well, and possibly their contact information if that is also available. Not to mention, Remind's also a CRM. It can be used for a customer resource management system. If you ever want to use it to maybe back up your contacts from your main CRM so that you have that in a separate system, or maybe you don't have a means to create a call to action whenever you're meeting with someone in the public space or maybe on Instagram and you want to capture that individual prospective buyer or seller's contact information, you can also use Remind to create a landing page for a call to action so that they can register and load into the Remind system as a potential prospect. Okay, so the reason why there's three classes is what we're going to go into right now is more of an overview of the Remind system and how to use it. On Wednesday, if I remember, in the morning, we're going to do a deep dive on just creating a CMA using Remind. And I'm going to give you guys a lot of amazing feedback on how to right size your CMAs, including a lot of strategies that you can learn from the PSA certification, which is short for the Pricing Strategy Advisor. So what we're going to do today is go over the system from an overview perspective so we can go through all of those amazing features. And because I only have an hour with you guys today to completely go over the system, I ask that you reserve your questions towards the end of class, or you're more than welcome to email me. My email, I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat real quick. It is tyson@miamire.com. That's right. I'm one of your Miami trainers along with Connie and Christy. Okay, so in order to access Remine, we're going to go right here on the main website of miamirealtors.com. We're going to go right there where you see the Miami Gateway. Okay, as I mentioned, this is an overview. If you guys have questions, please give me those questions towards the end of class or email that. That way, it's a lot easier to create this recording so I can send it to you and post it on our YouTube channel, guys. Okay, so this is the dashboard where you can see all of our amazing product and services. But you can get lost in the mirage of all of these different product and services. When you need to quickly access something, there's a search bar over here in the top left corner that you can click. And if you need to jump into services like RPR quickly, Remind, Matrix, as soon as you put in the name of that system, if I go over here and I put Remind and then I click on apply, it will just show me that service in my dashboard. I can even add a little star, making it a favorite so I don't have to look for it that hard next time. It will add it to my suite of favorited services here at the very top. Okay, now when we first access Remind, what it does is it takes us into the daily section of the Remind system. If you've used Matrix before, the daily section works very similar to the Matrix dashboard as soon as you sign in. Okay, you do have the ability to quickly access the market pulse. What that will do for you is it will allow you, just like in Matrix, to dial in and find changes happening in the zip codes that you service. If you do not set up your market watch, it will automatically give you a bird's eye view of how we are performing inside of the MLS for all 5 counties that we service, giving us a good understanding of brand new inventory, including active and available units, anything under contract, anything that's canceled, anything that went all the way to the finish line that closed, anything that was coming soon, expired, anything that went under contract as pending, anything that is withdrawn, which is off of the market for more than 30 days. And then we have hold, which is any property off of the market under 30 days. And right here where you see status updates, that's going to give me a grouping of different listings that have had price modifications, including increases, decreases, any property that was maybe off of the market that went back on the market. Status updates is a little bit of a general status change inside of the Remine system. I did mention for your market pulse, you can dial in and enter the zip codes that you service. So if I come here and I put in 33149, I can add another zip code if I want. I could put all of my different service areas, or if I want to make it nice and easy, or I just see how the zip code of 33149 is performing, and maybe I don't want to mix it with an additional zip code. So I want to repeat, you can add multiple zip codes and then find changes happening in your local markets. But if you don't want to mix zip codes, you do have the ability to visit this little settings button here. You can click on duplicate. This will allow you to create multiple market pulses where you can have separate intel based on how each market is performing. So if I want to come here, put in 33131 as an example, it will just show me the changes happening there. Again, there's 2 different ways to add multiple market pulses. It's either clicking this button right here, clicking on duplicate, or you also have a button over here where you see add new card, which will allow you to add additional widgets that we're going to go through in just a moment. Okay. Now, there is a button as soon as you go into daily where it says start chat. Remine will allow prospective buyer agents. If you ever have a listing, I just want to make sure I mention this. If you have a listing in the MLS and that buyer's agent is not using Matrix to send listings directly to their buyer, instead they're using Remine. What you want to make sure that you do on a weekly basis is check your chats. Okay, why? There is agents in the South Florida area that uses Remine to send listings directly to their prospective customers, including their buyers. And sometimes an agent might, if you have a listing, they may send you a chat asking you, for example, if that property is maybe available that weekend. And you never know. I've seen this happen. Agents might go into the chat here in order to submit an offer on the behalf of their buyer. Okay. So I want to repeat, Remine is an MLS system. It's also a tax roll system, just like IMAP and RPR. And it's also a beautiful customer resource management system that we're going to go through in just a moment. So again, we're going to wrap up real quick here under the daily section. Again, we have the ability to set up multiple market pulses. We even have a My Listing widget that will allow us to see all of the individual listings that we have in the MLS, including what is for sale and for rent. If you want to see all of the listings that are available in your entire office, there is a button right here that will see My Office that will allow you to see every listing inside of your brokerage as well. Now, one really cool factor, one of the main reasons why I love this My Listings panel is if you ever want to share your listing directly to your buyer, if you ever want to share a property that you've listed, maybe directly to a buyer that you're working directly with as well, you can. You can click on the listing. That's going to open up the property details. and then you can share that listing directly with the customer or maybe post it on social media. Now, because I'm a trainer with the board, these are test listings. These are not set to go directly to the MLS. So we're going to pretend that I'm going to share this listing. For example, I'm going to click on it. All right. So I'm going to click on it. And when you click on it, what it will normally do is it will immediately open up that listing. Let me just go ahead and mimic that I just pulled up my listing just to show this off. All right. And then you can go right up here on the top right where you see share. This little share button will allow you to email your listing directly to that prospective buyer, or you can copy this link right here. You can share the link of your listing via WhatsApp, text message, email, and that prospective buyer will have the ability to see all of the listing details, including, and we're going to cover this in just a little bit, they can edit the purchase price if they want to submit an offer under asking, and then they can even go through their monthly expenses during the hold of the property, including calculating cash at closing and much, much more. We're going to come back here in just a moment. I just wanted to show you guys real quick in the main dashboard under daily. If you do have a listing, you do have the ability to share them. Just click on that listing details, and then you can share that directly to your customers. All right, as we go down, there's additional widgets that we have here within the daily main menu, including whenever you close out a listing. Okay, so right here where you see engage, this will show you the entire contacts, all of the contacts that you've imported or you've added over time into the Remine system. In a moment, we're going to go into the contact section so I can show you how to import contacts, maybe from a CRM that you use, or maybe you have them in Matrix. I want to show you how to upload and then import those in here. Okay, also under the Engage widget, you could see the amount of potential prospects that you've invited in order to send them listings using the platform. That's going to be a part of the Engage menu that we're going to look at in just a little bit. And if any of them registered, if you've ever sent a link in order for that prospect to register, you can see how many you've actually invited versus how many have registered. And when you close out on a property in the MLS, you can see your total volume on the buying side, if you ever represent a buyer. And of course, whenever you represent that seller, there's a separate amount that we have here that will show up. Okay, next widget, very, very important that we know about is listings updates. If you're new to Remine and you are not showing any listings here under listing updates, it is not attached. It is not pulling listings from your market pulse. Listing updates. When you see listings here under this section, it will show you any listings that you've saved directly to a cart, including active listings, anything that was off of the market, anything under contract, any listings that you save in a cart. If that listing agent makes any modifications to those listings, you can even look at listings based on individual zip codes that you've set up for your customers. You can track changes on those sent listings anywhere within the past 30 days, past 7 days, or past day. If that agent put it, for example, off of the market, or maybe they did a price modification, anything that is happening to those listings, you'll see the details located here inside of this widget. So again, if you do not see anything here, that just simply means you have not yet saved listings directly to a cart. I am going to show you guys how to do that in just a little bit. All right, we have another amazing widget where it says saved searches. What this is going to do is show you here in the gold color the amount of searches that you've created that you have not sent directly to a customer. So that's where it says right here, private. I have set up 74 private searches that I have not shared directly with a client. However, there is 16 total searches that I have ended up sending directly to my customer. All of those searches can be located here on the left where it says saved searches. All right, guys. Next up, I want to make sure that I mention that Remind can be used as a call to action. What I mean by that is you have the ability to create a landing page so that if you're ever meeting a customer, maybe in Publix, just as an example, maybe out in the street, right? Or maybe they walk to your office, or maybe they call you. We're going to go right here where you see your name. There's a ability in this menu to add your photos. That way, if you create a CMA or you create a report using the Remind system, your photo, your logo, your contact information can be set up. And not to mention, under this menu where you see your name, if I go to settings, I can create a landing page so that I'm abiding by the Can Spam Act, and not to mention, I can create a landing page for that potential prospect to register, and then they will turn into a lead under the engage section of Remind. That way, I'm abiding by multiple rules and not to mention laws. Why, what I mean by that is we cannot just email anyone when we're using a business account, and we cannot just text anyone. That potential prospect needs to opt in some capacity. So when we go here where you see hello, your name settings, we have the ability to set up our information for reports, but also set up our information if we want to create that landing page. Okay, so right over here in the top left is where we can add our photo that will appear in any engagement that we send directly to that customer. So if I go right here, change photo, that's going to put me directly into my computer where I can add a photo there that will show up here in the top left corner. Also down here under account information, when I do have listings inside of the MLS, it is very, very important to verify by editing the account that I have my preferred email address, just in case an agent uses Remind to send listings to their customer. I would also want to put my preferred contact number when it comes to showing requests or any lead generating inquiries here. All right. Once I confirm and I add my information, I click on save and I am good to go. All right, as I go down, another little detail to mention when it comes to Remind is Remind is also similar to Dotloop and form simplicity. You also have the ability to use this platform to upload documents, including buyer brokerage agreements, listing agreements as well. And as you can see, it does mention the ability to use e-signature as well as using multiple parties, including buyer's agent, listing agents, in order to secure signatures. That's built into the system located right here under the Docs menu on the left. Now, if you can't see these options, another thing I want to stress just real quick, if you cannot see these options, your menu might be collapsed. So just click this little arrow here in the bottom left. That will open up this menu. Okay. As we go down, if we do decide to create a CMA using the Remind system, or I create any kind of report for a prospective customer, we want to make sure that we visit the display preferences. We click on this edit button. We would want to include our license number, our preferred display name, our preferred display email address. Again, all of this is what's going to show up inside of that call to action page that we're going to look at in just a moment. I can include my cell phone number, and right here, as we scroll down, I also have the ability under additional information just to put a little quick, straight to the point biography about myself. Okay, once I set up my preferred information in any reports that we generate, we click on save so it saves that information. Okay, now next up, we're going to go over this part nice and slow where you see social profile. This is where you can create a landing page that you can share directly with a prospect via email, via text message, via WhatsApp. Right here under social profile is where we have the ability to create that individual link. Okay, now the part that we cannot modify is the following: https://client.remind.com/re. That's baked into the system. We have the ability to create a suffix of this landing page where we can add our first and last name. So right here, mine's done already. If you've never set up your profile before in Remine, you're going to see a little section that's going to say claim. What I would suggest that you do is at the end of the link, put your first and last name. If you have a fairly common first and last name, for example, Jorge Martinez, something like that, I would put right after that realtor or realtor associate. Okay. Once you click on claim and you have that green check mark, that means that that link's available and it's going to be permanent. You're not going to be able to change it. I don't suggest that you use a URL that says your brokerage's name. So I wouldn't put, for example, Cristina Ramo, Keller Williams. I would just put your first and last name, but do not put the name of your brokerage. Again, that link is permanent. You might switch brokerages over time. You will not be able to change it. Okay, but once you save it, we're going to come back here in just a little bit to preview that link that we can share with our customers. First, we need to go down. We need to add a logo that appears inside of this landing page. So you can add a logo. It does need to be a minimum of 140 pixels by 50 pixels there. And that logo is going to show up at the very top of this landing page. And if you want to have a background image inside of that landing page, you do immediately have 3 free options. My personal opinion is this one's going to look great as a background image. It has a little bit of a higher depth, a little bit better of a DPI. You do have these other options. If you want to upload one directly from your computer, you can. It needs to be around 920 by 360 pixels. You can go directly into your computer and upload your very own background image that appears inside that landing page. All right. Because we're creating a call to action, we also want to make sure that we set up a welcome message for that prospective customer, including a title of the page that we created. You would put something like sales expert in South Florida, residential expert under title. If you do commercial, you can mention that here under title. You could even put the areas that you service. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and copy this real quick. This is the message that shows up inside of that landing page so that it is crystal clear where that lead, where that customer goes in order to register if they want to ask that next question. So when we create this landing page, one thing I want to stress just real quick, when we create this landing page in about 2 weeks, when Google indexes this page that we built, it's going to show up on a Google search should a customer search for us by name. Okay, so if they do happen to find us online, we want to make sure it's crystal clear on how to register. Or if I share this page with a buyer, I meet them in the public area, or a seller in the public area, I want to make sure they know how to register. So it says it right here. Please feel free to use the contact section on the right side of the page in order to provide me with your information so I can get back to you shortly. Again, if they register, they're going to show up here on the left under the engage section. We're going to go through engage in just a moment. Okay, inside of that landing page, you can also enter all of your social media handles. For example, if you have a Facebook, you would format it just like this, facebook.com/ the name of your page. If you have a Twitter, you would put x.com/ the name of your handle. If you have a YouTube, you would do the same thing, youtube.com/ the name of your YouTube channel. Instagram as well, instagram.com/ the name of your Instagram handle. LinkedIn would work the same way. You would copy paste your LinkedIn page here. All right, now if you do have a problem finding any of those links, you're more than welcome to email me, guys. I can help you find that online. As we go in, we could also include our phone number for WhatsApp texting, Snapchat. You can also put a Snapchat username here. In Google Maps, I would put the link that goes directly to my Google business page here where you see Google Maps. All right, all of this shows up inside of that landing page that we create. We're going to go ahead and click on save and keep going. All right, a little bit further down, if you create that landing page and you do have listings, you have the ability to show all of your active listings. And then including if you share this landing page with maybe a seller, you're going to allow them by turning this button on where you see recently sold listings. They can look for listings that have recently closed in their local markets. That's going to help them potentially list that property at the right value in the MLS. And an agent sends listings directly to their customer and they want to contact me. If I turn this button on, I will get an email notification that an agent is trying to reach out to me. Okay, a little bit further down where it says email cart notifications. If you save listings in your cart, you have the ability to get updates on those listings. If they go off of the market, if the agent schedules an open house, if those listings were canceled, maybe that buyer you're working with really, really wanted that unit. I would set this up so that I can, at least on a daily basis, know if there's any changes happening to listings that I'm sending to my customer. You also have the ability to look at changes from a weekly perspective as well as from monthly perspective, or if you do not want to have any email notifications on listings you're sending to your customer, there's also a never option. Okay, so the next thing I want to discuss real quick is because you're a Miami member, you guys do have the Pro plan. What that does allow you to do is not only search for listings inside of the MLS and also find all of the information about each property from the county's perspective, but the Pro plan that you all receive will allow you when you're farming for sellers that are not working with other customers, you have the ability to potentially find their contact information, such as email addresses and cell phone numbers using this system. Now, we have a class dedicated to just farming for prospective sellers and not to mention buyers and renters. The name of that class is Remine Prospecting and Farming. Today's session right now is more about going over the entire system. Okay, but there's a class just dedicated to farming for customers. Again, it's called Remine Prospecting and Farming. Okay, also, if you want to access the mobile version of the Remine system, so you can send listings to your customer using Remine on your phone, right here is where you can send yourself a link. You would just put in your cell phone number, click on send. That's going to send you a link that will take you directly to the App Store or Play Store and it will automatically sign you into the service. Okay, want to make sure I mention our primary mobile solution when it comes to listing access on a phone is not going to be Remine. The actual system that we prefer is MLS Touch when it comes to sending listings or finding listings for a potential buyer so that we can text those. Remine's not bad. I just find that MLS Touch is a little bit better. Okay, but again, you have Remine as an alternative. Okay, guys, now we're going to keep going. That is a breakdown of the settings menu. So if you want to, once you set up your profile and you want to find that landing page, it's located here under custom URL. Once we build it, we can share it via text message, WhatsApp. It does turn into a lead capture system where that prospective customer can register right here, providing me with their name and email address. And if they do sign up, they're going to show up here on the left under the engage section. Okay, so if they do register here, I can start seeing potential activity as well as confirming if that customer moved forward with not just setting up their account, but I can also see any saved searches, any properties that maybe I've shared them, they'll show up here, any properties that they favorited, as well as info if they registered. their timeline on when they're looking to sell, their budget, their overall turnaround time as far as looking to buy and sell. All of that loads here. Okay. You also have the ability, if you do not want to use the landing page and you want to invite individual prospects one by one, you do have the ability to go right here to invite. That will allow you to generate a link that you can email as well as send via text message. There's another invite button right up here on the right where you see invite if you want to send a invite via email as well. Okay, you can see all of the individual prospects that you've invited. If they have not registered, you can resend them links in order for them to do so of Remine. So right here where you see contacts, this is the main CRM system where you have the ability to set up your groups. You can set up a buyer group. You can even set up past clients. Maybe you've sold properties to them before and you want to keep tabs on them inside of a CRM. You can set up, if you would like, outside of the Engage, you can set up a prospective group, seller group, title company. Maybe you do rental management as well. You can even create a tenant group as well. Okay, now again, we're just creating groups. If I want to assign individual customers to each one of these groups, I would first want to import those individual customers inside of the platform. Okay, so if you use maybe your CRM with your brokerage, or you use maybe Matrix, over here on the right where you see upload contacts, this will allow you, using a CSV file, you're going to be able to upload those contacts. All right, as long as each cell is formatted like this: first name, last name, street address, city, state, zip code, email, and phone number. As long as the cells are formatted just like this, you're going to be able to go into your computer and then upload those contacts inside of the system. If you happen to upload a contact before, maybe 2 days before accessing your CSV file, the system will check to see if you've generated duplicates. Okay. If you do not know how to export your contacts out of Matrix, I just want to cover that real quick so everyone has a good understanding. If you want to offload your customers from Matrix and then put those directly inside of Remine, you would go under the My Matrix menu. You would go to Contacts. And then once you access the Contacts page, right here where you see Actions, there's a beautiful little export button. That's going to allow you to export your contacts. Just going to add these to the main desktop just real quick. All right. There you go. Okay. And then if you want to upload them, that's going to put you directly into your computer. And then that's going to allow you to go directly either into your recent files or your downloads. And then that's going to allow you to upload all of that information directly from that CSV file into your computer. Now, again, it will automatically check to make sure that the format is correct. But once it's done, you upload, and then that's going to add all of these individual customers or past clients here. Okay, but once you add them and you want to assign them into any group, you first want to click on the details of that customer. There's a little button here that says add to group. And again, as long as you built the groups, you can assign them immediately into the group that they fall under. That way you can quickly access them here inside of the contacts menu. Okay, another thing that you can do is if you ever want to export, maybe you have a listing in the MLS and then two potential buyers registered and they were added as a contact, you could export as well, all of your saved contacts in Remine, you can immediately export them into another CRM. So it works both ways for both uploading into the system as well as exporting out of the system. If you ever want to delete someone, you do have the ability to click on their name, click on delete. It's going to ask you, are you sure? And then that's how you can delete as well. Okay, excellent. So that's a quick little breakdown, guys, of the overall CRM. Another thing to keep in mind is under manage columns, if you do add their additional information, including cell phone numbers, email addresses into their contact records, you can, from this view, pick if you want to see their birth dates, notes. You can manage your columns to see all of the information about each prospect. Again, as long as you've added that into the contact details. Okay, so that's a quick little rundown of the contact section as well as the engage section, guys. What's amazing about this landing page is, again, we're abiding by the Can't Spam Act and not to mention FCC regulations as well, that if I submit this page to a prospect, if they register, I have a server proving that they wanted to freely give me their information. And that way I can follow up, maybe put them into my email blast campaigns, or just email them seeing what they are looking to do. Are they looking to buy or sell? Okay. As I mentioned, we have all of our social media handles inside of the landing page, along with our brokerage details, an additional information button if I put a little demographic, not a little demographic, but rather a little biography about myself. And then this is the cool part. If I'm working with a customer, this is where they can start going through the process of confirming that they're working with me. And they can quickly, all of this loads into the engagement details. They can start putting in the area that they're interested in, maybe the neighborhood as well. Let me just go ahead and put that in. There you go. Purchase price. Again, all of this will load inside of their details once they register here. That will show up here under the engagement section with all of those key details. All right, guys. Okay, so we're going to keep going. What we're going to do next, very, very important. Again, so far we've explained the daily section, engage. We've also done a great job of going through the contact section. Again, chats. Just one more time, chats is where I go in order to start a chat. Again, all agents plugged into the system, we could search for them. Or if I have any pending chats from another agent, I can find all of their requests here. Okay. When it says chat, it doesn't mean the chat that you might be thinking of from like 20 years ago. If you remember how we had Yahoo Messenger, AOL Messenger, it's not where you have to immediately get back to that prospective inquiry if it's a seller or a buyer or a buyer's agent. Okay. You have time to come back here. It doesn't have to be a live conversation. Just think of it as a way for them to contact you should they have questions. Okay. We're going to go into the search. I want to make sure you guys have a good understanding of how to search or listings, but I also want to make sure you guys know all of the amazing benefits on how you can share listings directly with a prospective customer. Okay, but one thing I need to stress real quick. There's two different ways to search in this platform. Right here where you see listings, if I click on this button, it means that I want to send listings or find listings for a prospective customer. Okay, this button where you see properties, what this will allow you to do is potentially using filters here on the left, find prospective sellers that you might be able to contact and see if they want to sell their properties. So again, this system has two different ways to use it. We're going to go in under listings first. All right, we're going to pretend that we're working directly with a buyer that's interested in some single family homes in the we're going to look in for example, the Pembroke Pines area. Okay. So when you go to listings and you want to dial in and add filters, there's two different important sections that you need to know about. We have add filters, which gives us some of those commonly used filters, including the ability to search by status. So if I'm looking for active units, I can use status to confirm active and available units. If I'm using maybe the Remine system to look for anything under contract to help me with a CMA that I'm doing when I'm working with a buyer or a seller, or if I want to track canceled listings, as well as anything that's sold outside of the MLS, there's a button here called off market under properties that we're going to go through in just a little bit. But here under status, I do have the ability to find anything that has closed inside of the MLS, anything that was listed with a listing agent. But under properties, this is just a little bit of a bonus. There's a filter called off market that will allow you to find sales that happened off market, including for sale by owners or developer sales, including new construction. So let's just do this one more time so we understand. Listings, status will give me the ability to search for any status for any listing that happened to be in the MLS. But under properties, if I add the filter of off market, and I'm having a hard time finding some additional comps, I can use closed off MLS right here in order to find those for sale by owners. Okay. All right. We're going to go back under listings. Under add filter, when we're looking for listings, not only do we have status, but we have listing type. So if I'm looking for something just for sale, I can add this one. If I'm looking for something maybe just for rent, I can just search based on individual status. I can search by price range, just like normal, the date the property hit the MLS, including the start date, so I can find fresh listings, status date, if I'm trying to find properties that have recent modifications, including price changes, or maybe maybe I want to find a property that just recently went back on the market. We can search by status date, bedrooms, bathrooms, year built. If I'm looking for maybe a newer condo, I can search by the overall year that the unit was built. Lot square footage. So I can search by square footage size, by the lot, as well as by acreage size. And then I can also search by the entire unit's individual square footage. So again, these are, as I call them, our out of the box filters that we can use to look for listings. But there's also an advanced menu over here on the right where you see advanced, which will allow us to dial in on exact property types. So if I'm working with a buyer that only wants, for example, a single family home, as we move down into this list, we do have property features where I can search by exact property types, as you can see, including commercial sales, residential units, units for lease, land options, residential income, which is going to give me my duplexes, my triplexes, or my quadplexes, farmland, business opportunities where a business owner is selling the trade name of their company, as well as signage, maybe marketing. And I can also find mobile homes, aka manufactured homes. But this is really what everyone's looking for, property subtype, where I can search by agricultural land, apartment, barns, boat slips, businesses, cabanas, co-ownership, commercial, condo hotels, my standard condos or co-ops, condominiums, just outright condominiums, deeded parking, duplexes, efficiency suites, flex spaces, bit of a mixture of commercial as well as residential property types. As we go down, if I just want to find just single family detached units, dial in on those, just find those. Again, under the advanced filter is where I can go and add a little bit of greater detail, including property type, property subtype. I can even search by the terms considered by the seller. If the property is REO, which is real estate owned, also known as a foreclosed property where the bank's in possession, I can even search by if it's a short sale, if the homeowner's behind on their mortgage payments and possibly selling it based on the remaining mortgage balance. I have those filters as well as looking at properties based on how long they've been on the market, aka days on the market. All right, as we go down, there's other additional things to know about, including the ability to search by zip code, county, city, exact street addresses. Great for condo buildings. So if I want to see all of the units in 5600 Collins Avenue, I can put the address. If I just happen to have the listing numbers for my buyer, I can plug those in. I can search statewide, block numbers, lot numbers, subdivision. If the land is available lease, I could even search by interior, exterior features, HOA payment, minimum to maximum, type of association, as well as brokerages. If I ever want to look up all of the individual listings that each brokerage has. So again, guys, when you're searching for listings, very, very important that I mention, you want to use the ad ad filters that we get access to here to confirm what we're looking for. So I'm going to say we're going to look for active units that are for sale. And we're going to use the bedrooms and bathrooms. We're going to go from 3 to 4 on bedrooms. Bathrooms, we're going to do, we'll go down to 2 to 3 there. All right. And if you're not searching by location, the map will automatically give me listings that it can visibly see. But if I hold my mouse down on my map and move around, it's going to change the amount of listings that it sees. Okay. If I don't want to search by location, and I know, for example, South Florida like the back of my hand, as I zoom in, the listings that it shows me here on the right is the listings that it visibly sees. Okay, but if I want to draw, for example, maybe I have a customer interested in North Hollywood towards Emerald Hills, you can draw just like so, and then it will just show you the listings in the area that you've established. Okay. All right. Now, polygon tool. Just make sure as you zoom in that you are capturing the area where those listings are. The little indicator here will give you a greater detail on where they are, just like so. And then it will just show you those listings located right there. Again, your map here is your friend and your enemy at the same time. So as long as the map can visually see, especially if you're drawing, it will just show you those units there. Okay, so the 3 units that we're coming back with just drawing by itself. I have one unit priced at 775,000. It's giving me the bedrooms and bathrooms, the overall square footage. It's giving me the address and the owner's details, as well as how long those units have been on the market. Okay. Now, if I want to access more details on each property, you can click directly on the listings details. It will give you the current status, the MLS ID by the individual board that listed the unit, the established equity, as well as the owner's information. So this does look like it's through a trust. All right. But if I want to share this unit with a prospective customer, I can. Okay. We're just going to use the second one as an example for that. Okay. So if I want to share this individual property with a prospective buyer, there's a couple of ways. So right here where you see share, share will allow me to enter my customer's email address. All right. And if I want to put a little message saying, I found this listing, let me know if you want to schedule a showing. All right. This is one way to share it. This will share just this listing directly to that prospective customer, just this listing. It's not auto email. In a moment, I'm going to show you how you can use Remine to automatically send listings that matches what they're looking for via auto email. Okay. Now, again, when you share, that customer receives a link of that listing where they will only see your information. They will see the photos of the unit here, the address of the unit, how long the owners lived there, the description directly from the listing agent, and if they want to favorite the listing, they can. If they want to share it maybe with a spouse or co-buyer, they can. All of the details they're going to see is you. If they want to see this property here via a map view, they can, including its overall valuation directly from three parties, including American, Redfin, and Zillow. It's going to give a price estimation on how much those three companies believe that the unit's worth. They can even go directly into what you'll pay. So if they don't want to submit an offer, just as an example of 975, maybe they want to submit an offer at 955. A potential prospect can change the amount, including if they're going to buy it using a mortgage or with cash. They can even enter their overall interest fee. Now that one's a little too low. It's going to change that real quick. That's going to change their monthly expenses. They can even modify the property taxes, HOA fees, home insurance, and cash at closing. If they decide maybe they're going 30% down, it's going to give the remaining amount on the mortgage, lender policy premium, calculation, endorsement fee, settlement fee, and recording fee as well. Again, great way to send a little bit more than just listing details. We can also let them engage, see all of the information from the listing agents, information on how they listed the property, including utilities available. If they want to see the current owner, as well as when the property's changed hands, according to public record, they'll need to register for this part or sign up. Now, a little bit further down, if they want to see the property history each and every time that it's maybe been listed before, they'll need to register for that. They can quickly get a good understanding of all of the schools in the area, including the school ratings, and of course, demographics based on that area as well. Okay, this is one way to share a property directly with the customer. This is, again, the link version that you can send here or here. There's another way as well to share a property details other than creating a link. All right, as you go down, there's a print button. Print is where if I have that customer in front of me and I want to print out all of the details, I can. Or if I don't want to give them a link and I just want to give them a static PDF that shows all of the information about the property, that's what this print button does. Okay, now if I'm going to send this to a customer, I don't want to use agent full view. I would use the client full view, but there's also a gallery view, which will show all of the photos of each individual photo that was uploaded by the listing agent. But if I just want to send the client full view, let them see the listing details, schools in the area, property images, property history, demographics, public record, and then valuation from any of these third-party companies, how much they believe that the property is worth, I can turn that on or off. I would just look at their valuations first before I send that part to my customer. From there, I can name the file. So I'm going to say this is for John Smith buyer. All right. I click on print. This is another way to send a property directly to a customer here. So we're just going to go ahead and send it. It's more of a PDF with our contact information here, and then all of the information directly from the MLS. So it's kind of like, I want to make sure put this into perspective. It's kind of like the client full view in the MLS. We're just going to do a quick little comparison, guys. So inside of the MLS, when you use the print button down here on a property, we do have that classic client view. Going to wait for the Wi-Fi to Wi-Fi. All right. But my opinion is Reminds just looks a lot more professional for a potential customer. So again, they get all the public record details, where the unit's located inside of the community, including flood zone details here, the schools, the client view. If I come into Matrix, just to show you guys a compare and contrast. All right, so if I go here and I select, just as an example, let me find my client views. I should have that right towards the bottom, client full. Click on preview. This is what they get in the MLS versus Reminds right here. Customer friendly with additional information, including valuation, each time the property's been listed in the MLS, if it was sold, including in each individual transaction, just a lot better details. Okay, just wanted to show that off real quick. So again, that's located here under the print button. All right, excellent. So we're going to go out real quick. We're going to go ahead and start with a brand new search. I want to make sure you guys know how to use the auto email function inside of Remine. So if my customer, for example, I'm working directly with the buyer and they want me to send them emails based on listings. All right, the first step is I want to add that customer first under contacts. Very, very important that I mention that. Before I start looking for listings, first I want to go here under contacts. I would want to add them as a contact, get their first name, last name, email, phone number, their address. There's some additional elective options here, such as notes, middle names, prefixes. I can add additional fields as well, such as their birth date, children, contact type. Where did they find me? Did they find me on Google Business, Zillow, Trulia? Contact status, department, job title, language, lead source, middle name. Once I add them, once I fill out all of their details, I then go under the search to begin conducting searches for properties they might be interested in. Okay, so we're going to go to listings. I'm going to show you how to take advantage of the auto email. Okay, now in order to start a brand new search, the other thing to mention is Remine will remember exactly what you did the last time that you used it. So you always want to click on the clear all filters button. When you click on clear all filters, what you can make sure that you do is make sure that you have all of your preferred individual filters located here, there, so that they're saved as permanent pins. That way, if I want to look for active units that are residential, that are 3 bedrooms up to 4 bedrooms, I can. Same thing for baths. If I'm looking for maybe 2 bedroom, 3 bathroom units, and then I want to search in maybe the Hollywood area, I can type in Hollywood, apply the Hollywood area into my search. And if I want to go under advanced filters and just dial in on very specific property types, including not looking for senior communities, and maybe I just want to search for just single family homes, I want to make sure I go under the advanced filters, add those individual property types. And then as I'm searching, I can look at these properties from a list of results as the system finds them here. Perfect, perfect. Or if I want to switch from my list view back to my map view, I can. All right. But if my buyer says, I'm interested in the Hollywood area, but I'm also considering, I'll drive down 820 if I need to. I'm also looking at Pembroke Pines, but not the entire area of Pembroke Pines. I want to be close to, for example, my sister. Look inside of a community. Look inside of the Silver Lakes community. That's right. You guys have the ability in Remine to not only search multiple locations at the same time, you can also search by neighborhood. So if I go to neighborhoods and then I find it here and then I apply it to my filter, it will add that entire community inside of my search. Okay. You can add as many areas, including cities, zip codes, and communities at the same time. Matrix cannot do that. I want to repeat, I love Matrix, but Matrix will not allow me to search cities and zip codes all at the same time. Okay, this system does. Okay, but I said something very important. When you're searching for listings using this platform, and we're almost done, when I'm searching for listings in this platform and I'm looking at two different areas, my results, so I got 32, my results are based on my map and what it can see. So as long as I zoom out and I can see the two areas I want, I'm getting all of my matches. Okay, so I'm going to click on select all. All right, and then from there, there's two different ways to search. If I add these properties to a cart, what that means, if I'm adding these listings to a cart, it means that I am going to kind of use concierge mode. I want to make sure I explain that. So concierge mode is in Matrix. Matrix allows us to pre-screen the listings before we send them directly to our customers. Cart, what that does is it allows me to add these listings directly to my cart. And if the agent makes any changes to those listings over time, I can get an email alert. Okay. So we're going to go to cart name. I'm going to name this listings for John Smith. All right. And then this is the most important part. Once I name the cart, I need to click this gray create button so that I can add those 378 properties to a cart. So again, carts is not the same as saving a search. Saving the search means that later on, I want to look at those listings, maybe one by one, or I may want to turn that save search later on into an auto email. Okay. So carts, just going to click on carts real quick. This just gives us an overall view of each property here. And I can access the details, meaning me, myself, and I can see the individual customer that they're attached to. Okay. Next, what we're going to do real quick is we're going to use search. This time, we're going to say that the buyer said, okay, I'm only interested in the Silver Lakes area. Go ahead and remove Hollywood. So you're going to notice there is a way to remove your areas, just like so. Okay, so I just clicked that X. It kept me here inside of the Silver Lakes area. So auto email is under the button Save Search. Okay. Once I add my customer under contacts, I can then save the search. And I'm going to put Silver Lakes units for sale. And as long as I added that customer under my contacts, I can type out their name, click on that customer's name, and then what that does is it will immediately unlock the ability of auto email. Okay, so if I want to send them a daily list of each listing as they come out, I have daily. That's going to give them a group of all of the listings that came out that day. I have ASAP, which will send them individual listings each time a listing comes out. Weekly will send them one email a week for all of the listings that matches. If I'm just saving this search and I want to go through the listings before I send them to my customer, there's also a never button. Okay, so we're going to use just for this one weekly. And then we're going to go here to send me an email also. That's going to carbon copy me with the email that I send directly to my customer. And then that sends the auto email from a weekly perspective. And then if I ever want to check that email in the overall save search, I can click on save search, and then that's going to show me that search here. Not only will it show me the name, the criteria, but if I want to change it, maybe my customer says, hey, weekly, you're not sending me enough listings fast enough. Can you change how quickly you're sending? You can switch it to ASAP here. And then if you want under shared, if you want to add another customer to this auto email, as long as you've added them under contacts, maybe there's a spouse or a co-buyer, you can add their name here as well. and then they will also receive this auto email. Okay, here's another really cool thing that you can do. All right, you have the ability to edit and delete your saved searches. What's really cool about edit is at any time, if my customer wants me to add any other details, maybe under advanced, this will allow me to preserve all of the filters I already built. And if I want to add anything else, such as making sure that the units have a pool, it will update the criteria. I can go directly back to my map results. And then if my buyer says, hey, send me a list of the units in, for example, Silver Lakes that doesn't have a pool, I can send them one search where I'm sending the units that don't have a pool. And then if I want, and I want to duplicate this search where now we're just looking for units that have a pool, I can go right up here where you see save search. And then I can create a whole new search that doesn't affect the first one. Here, I name it. I could put units with a pool in Silver Lakes. I can select that customer. And what I've done essentially is sent two different searches without having to work so hard. It's a form of copying. And then from there, under frequency, if I want to send this one maybe on a daily basis, weekly basis, I click on done and I have two separate searches built into this platform. All right, guys, that is it. I do want to thank you so much for your time. This was more of a overview of the Remine system. Please take advantage. Biggest takeaways of this class is being able to dial in searching for the exact type of properties that your customer wants. And again, there's two different ways to share listings, and it's a little bit more than just a listing system. You also have the ability to use Remine as a backup customer resource management system where you can import all of your customers. And if you ever want to create that call to action, go here in the bottom left, click on settings so that you can build your landing page that you can share on the go. All right, guys, that is it. I do want to thank you so much for your time. All right, in about 20 minutes, we're going to go into the next